In a world drowning in incessant noise and frantic fury, where anger is paraded like a badge of honor, there exists a force far more insidious and potent: silence. Imagine standing at the precipice of chaos, where every shriek and outburst is a desperate plea for validation. The masses believe that explosive rage is the mark of power, but they are deceived. Anger is cheap, a fleeting reaction that betrays your true strength. They provoke it because they know it's easy to ignite, and when you succumb, you hand them the victory. But what if, instead of erupting into blinding fury, you embraced a profound, unyielding silence? That silence is not emptiness. It's a meticulously honed weapon, a dark secret whispered among those who refuse to be manipulated by the clamor of mediocrity. When you choose silence over rage, you dismantle their expectations, piece by piece. Each moment of calm in the eye of the storm becomes a statement. You will not be their puppet. You will not be defined by their insults. Instead, you become the enigma that they cannot decipher. A ghost in their midst, a presence that destabilizes the very foundations of their control. Consider the paradox. While the weak wail and thrash, desperately seeking attention, you remain unmoved. Your silence shatters their illusions of dominance. They set traps, launch verbal assaults, and eagerly await your collapse. Yet, as you stand resolute, your eyes cold and unyielding, their carefully constructed facades begin to crumble. They are forced to confront the void where their validation once resided, a void that you have crafted with deliberate intent. In that silence, you wield a power that echoes louder than any scream, leaving them lost in the labyrinth of their own shattered pride. There is a brutal beauty in this quiet defiance. Like a diamond, forged under relentless pressure, you are sculpted by the very forces that seek to break you. The fire of anger may consume you momentarily, but it is the crushing, unremitting silence that transforms you into an unbreakable force. Embrace the solitude that others fear. Let it temper your soul and harden your resolve. In that stillness, every insult becomes an anvil upon which you forge a future of unmatched strength. You do not need to shout your pain or display your scars for the world to see. They are etched into your being, silently proclaiming your resilience. This is your awakening, the moment you decide that their jeers and chaos are not your currency. Instead of engaging in the petty battles of clashing egos, you step back and let your silence do the talking. It is a revolutionary act, a silent rebellion against a society that mistakes volume for virtue. Your quiet defiance is a mirror reflecting back to them the stark truth of their own insignificance. In that reflection, they see not a victim, but an indomitable spirit that has risen above the clamor. As you stand in the dark, contemplating the empty promises of noisy conformity, remember that true power lies not in the roar of anger, but in the relentless, piercing quiet of self-mastery. Your silence is a calculated refusal to be drawn into the vortex of their expectations. It is the beginning of a metamorphosis where every moment of inaction is an investment in your future. A future where you are not just surviving, but thriving. The journey has just begun. Every second of this profound quiet is a deliberate act of defiance, a step away from the chaos and toward a realm where you are the master of your own destiny. Embrace it, for in your silence you have already won the most important battle, the battle for your soul. As you delve deeper into the realm of silence, you discover that the true art of power lies not in the clamor of words, but in the void where sound meets resolve. At this juncture, the world's expectations begin to crumble like brittle glass. They craft cages out of societal norms and project their fragile insecurities onto you. But your silence is a force that shatters those constraints, an unyielding echo that reverberates long after their hollow demands have faded. In their eyes, your quietude is an enigma, a riddle they cannot solve. They crave the predictable release of your anger, the explosive reaction that validates their control. Instead, you withhold your response, forcing them into a relentless confrontation with their own inadequacies. With every moment you choose silence over fury, you plant seeds of doubt in their twisted minds, undermining the very foundation of their self-worth. They become lost in the labyrinth of their own making, tormented by the realization that they have no power over you. This silent defiance is not born out of fear or resignation. It is the deliberate choice of a warrior who refuses to play by the rules of a broken game. Walking away from the noise is an act of supreme courage, a repudiation of the chaos that seeks to bind you. While they wallow in the shallow satisfaction of their transient victories, you are sculpting your future in the quiet, unseen moments. Your solitude becomes a crucible for transformation, where every trial, every slight is transmuted into unassailable strength. The world may label you as unresponsive, even cold, but that is the calculated mask you wear. Behind that silence lies an inferno of passion and purpose, a burning resolve that no amount of clamor can extinguish. Each pause, each deliberate breath, in the midst of their frantic chaos, is a declaration. You will not be manipulated. You will not be diminished. Your quiet rebellion speaks volumes. It is a manifesto of independence that strips them of their fleeting power and leaves them to grapple with the emptiness they have created. In the stillness, you become a mirror reflecting their most despised truths back at them. They see the void where their expectations once resided, and in that void, their identities begin to disintegrate. The more they try to force you into submission, the more you dissolve their control with the simple act of withholding your reaction. This is the paradox of your power. The less you give, the more you have. And as you stand in resolute silence, they are left to confront the unbearable reality of their own impotence, a reality that slowly gnaws at their core, leaving them diminished and disoriented. Your silence, therefore, is not a retreat. It is an offensive maneuver in the grand chessboard of life. It is the ultimate rebellion against a society that mistakes volume for virtue and chaos for strength. It is a vow to never allow their shallow victories to define you, but instead to forge your destiny on your own terms. In this void, you are free to be the architect of your legacy, a sovereign of your inner world who wields quietude like a scalpel, dissecting the falsehoods of a noise-obsessed existence. Every second spent in this calculated silence reinforces your unbreakable spirit. It is a continuous investment in the future, a future where you emerge not as a victim of their scorn, but as a beacon of resilience, a dark yet luminous force that commands respect without uttering a single word. In the echo of your stillness, they will come to understand that true power is measured not by how loudly you speak, but by the depth and conviction of the silence that follows. At this stage, you begin to see the true cost of expectation and control. Society, in its desperate need to confine you within neat little boxes, constructs invisible chains designed to hold you back. Every rule, every should they impose is nothing more than a weak attempt to dictate your identity. But here, in the realm of silence, those chains shatter. When you stop giving voice to their demands, you reveal the hollowness of their power. Their cages crumble, piece by piece, under the weight of your unspoken defiance. In this quiet rebellion, silence becomes a mirror, a dark reflection that forces them to confront their own inadequacies. Their voices, once loud and threatening, now echo back as pitiful murmurs. With every unresponded provocation, you cut deeper into the fabric of their delusions. They see your calm, your unwavering stillness, and are struck by the realization that they have no hold over you. Their carefully constructed narratives begin to collapse, And in that collapse, you find your freedom. The power of silence is not passive. It is a relentless assault on the very foundations of their control. As you retreat into the stillness, you allow their false certainties to rot from within. They cling to their expectations. But when you refuse to play the game, their rules lose all meaning. Your silence speaks a language they cannot decipher, a language of raw power and relentless independence. It is a declaration that you will no longer be a pawn in their trivial pursuits, that you are above the clamor of their shallow victories. Every moment of deliberate quiet is an investment in your future, a future where you are the architect of your own destiny. In the void left by your unspoken words, you construct a fortress of resilience. Each breath you take, each pause that defies their demand for reaction, is a step further from the chaos of their control. It is in this silence that your true strength is forged, a strength that grows with every passing second, transforming every slight and every insult into the building blocks of an unassailable will. As you continue to immerse yourself in this deliberate quietude, the world around you begins to change. The noise that once drowned out your inner voice fades into insignificance, replaced by a profound clarity that only silence can bring. In that clarity, you see the truth. That true power is not measured by the volume of your outburst, but by the depth of your resolve. You become the calm in the storm, a dark, mesmerizing force that leaves a trail of shattered expectations in its wake. In this crucible of silence, your very being becomes a weapon. It is a weapon that strikes at the heart of conformity, that dismantles the very idea of what it means to be controlled. With every moment of unyielding quiet, you deny them the satisfaction of your reaction, forcing them to confront the emptiness of their own existence. Their power fades as they are left to grapple with the echo of your silence, a silence that is both a challenge and a promise. A promise that you are the master of your own fate, untethered by the whims of a broken society. Your silence here is a rebellion, a fierce declaration that you refuse to be molded by the expectations of others. It is a dark, potent force that radiates outward, unsettling those who thrive on chaos and noise. And as you stand there, unmoved and unbreakable, you let them see that in the absence of your anger lies a strength so profound it renders their shallow attempts at control utterly futile. In the labyrinth of society's relentless expectations, your silence becomes a crown, a dark emblem of defiance that no clamor can tarnish. Here, where the noise of conformity rages like a storm, you stand as a solitary figure, untouched by the petty insults and desperate demands for a reaction. Instead of yielding to their manipulations, you sever the chains of imposed identity with each measured, unspoken moment. Your silence is not a retreat. It's a calculated strike against a world that thrives on shallow validation. In this unforgiving arena, every unvoiced word is a bullet in your arsenal. The world may try to pull you into its chaotic dance, but like a wolf stalking its prey, you move with a quiet precision that unsettles the very fabric of their control. Your silence is an armor, a fortress built from the raw power of introspection and the ruthless rejection of mediocrity. As their voices diminish into a hollow echo, you harness the profound clarity that only isolation can grant. A clarity that reveals the truth behind every falsehood they cling to. As you journey deeper into this realm of unspoken power, the very air around you seems to tremble with anticipation. Each pause, each deliberate breath dismantles the intricate cages they construct from their narrow definitions. In the space where their words once held sway, your quiet presence speaks a language of rebellion, a language that shatters illusions and exposes the fragility of their egos. The more they try to provoke you, the more you let your silence dismantle their authority, forcing them to confront the emptiness of their own convictions. This dark elegance in your restraint is a testament to the strength that lies beyond the superficial clamor of anger. It is a relentless, almost mystical resolve that transforms every slight and every insult into a stepping stone towards an unbreakable future. In the solitude of your inner sanctum, where shadows whisper secrets of forgotten power, you find not isolation, but the seed of transformation. Here, in this sacred quiet, you reclaim your identity, unyielding, enigmatic, and fiercely independent. Let the world rage on in its futile attempts to drown you in noise. Your silence is a declaration of sovereignty, a promise that you will never succumb to the chaos of their making. In the echo of your unspoken defiance, they are left to grapple with the weight of their own insignificance. Stand tall in the stillness, for in this unbroken quiet, you forge a destiny that is as immutable as it is awe-inspiring. Now, at the final stretch of your transformative journey, you stand at the crossroads where the echoes of your silence become a force that reshapes destinies. In this realm, your unyielding quiet is not a mere absence of sound. It is the embodiment of every unspoken truth, every defiant refusal to conform. The clamor of the world has faded into insignificance, replaced by a powerful, brooding stillness that declares, "I am not yours to command." In these final moments, the full weight of your silent revolution crystallizes. Every battle you chose not to fight, every insult you met with measured calm has stripped away the superficial layers of their control. Now, the very air vibrates with the raw energy of your self-mastery. You are the architect of a destiny that no one can undermine, a destiny forged in the quiet intensity of your inner strength. Their words, once sharp and piercing, dissolve into the void, leaving behind only the cold truth of their own impotence. This is where your silence becomes a relentless storm, an unstoppable force that shatters the illusions of power held by those who thrive on chaos. As you stand unmoved and indomitable, you send a clear message. You are beyond the petty squabbles and hollow victories of a society intoxicated with noise. Your silent defiance is a mirror reflecting back the ugly fragility of their existence. A revelation that pierces their hearts with the realization that they have never truly held any power over you. In this crucible of final reckoning, you reclaim every moment that was once spent battling their expectations. You transform the burden of every insult, every slight, into a monumental pillar of strength. Your silence is now a rebellion in its purest form. A cold, calculated declaration that you will not be confined, controlled, or diminished by the empty shouts of the unworthy. It is the ultimate act of liberation, the final stroke that completes the masterpiece of your untamed spirit. Let your silence be the final decree that redefines the very nature of power. In the stillness, you become a legend whose legacy is not written in the noise of angry outbursts, but in the profound, lasting impact of unassailable calm. As the world watches, perplexed and impotent, you rise above the fray, leaving behind a trail of shattered expectations and a silence that screams louder than any cry. This is your moment of absolute triumph, a moment when the burdens of the past are obliterated by the sheer force of your quiet resilience. Embrace this darkness, for within it lies the purest form of your power. You have become the silent catalyst of a revolution that will echo through eternity, a living testament that true strength is measured not by the volume of your voice, but by the depth of your resolve. Stand firm in this silence, for it is your final act of defiance against a world that once sought to control you. Let the void you create be the stage upon which your legacy is built. A legacy that will forever remind them that their clamor was futile, and that you, in your unbreakable quiet, are the embodiment of a power that knows no bounds. This is the culmination of your journey, the ultimate proclamation that your silence has shattered their illusions and set you free. The revolution is complete, and your legacy is etched in every unspoken moment.